Hey y'all, so today I am doing the telephone box finally. This is one I've been waiting for ever since it's been released, and I'm really excited to do it. I love that it has the light, I love that it has different telephone box options for the inside. I really do love London. I was able to study abroad in 2019. And I haven't been in a long time. My passport is seriously collecting dust, but it's nice to kind of have it in my apartment because it is a place that I do miss. I actually studied abroad in Sussex at the University of Sussex, so I actually experienced Brighton a little bit more. But I would go to London, like on the weekends and stuff, or like days that I had off that I didn't have classes. But I just want to give a random shout out to like the transportation system. It's just so easy to navigate yourself in England, and things weren't way too expensive to get somewhere. So the fact that I was able to get into the city and travel throughout the city, from Sussex at a reasonable price, especially as a student, that was super important to me. But that's what we're really going in for today. I'm going to show you pretty much the fact that I did decide to go with like the more recent timed telephone booth option. It's cool that if I do decide to switch it up, I can change the inside. I doubt that that would be the case. As of right now, I'm pretty much just always clicking the light button when I'm just like kind of like feeling the vibe that I pass by. I'm like just boop. Um, but today we're going to be really just talking about what it looks like to travel and what I've done in the past and what I hope to do in the future. So going in, one, not a travel girly at the beginning of time. That was not something that was in my affordability range for my family and such. So I got on my first flight actually when I was, let's just say it was 2015. And I was for a study abroad program that I did for summer search. So it was like a college preparatory program, and I was able to do it. And I went to Massachusetts for the first time. I have not been back since, but I don't live that far now, so maybe at some point. But I was able to go to Massachusetts, and that was the first time I experienced like super, super greenery and just like experiencing a different state, which was really cool. And then from then, that was also my year that I went to New York City for the first time. I literally just experienced the very basics. We were only there for 4 hours. I've been to Connecticut, etc., etc. But what was really cool, I always go back to 2019. And that was the year I traveled so much, not only for my college study abroad program, but also for, my college program as I was a house advisor. So I was able to do a lot of really awesome stuff, not only by going to Hawaii, but I was able to go to, like I said, I went to London. I was in England for like a whole 2 months. In that time period, I was able to visit Paris, France, which is really amazing. I would love to like discover more of the French countryside of it all. And then I was also able to go to Venice, Italy, and Rome, Italy. And I would like to experience more of Italy at some point in time. As far as future goes, like I said, my passport's been collecting dust. I don't know about y'all, but when you graduate college, adulting tends to be more expensive. Life gets a little bit harder. And if you're around my age, life definitely got harder. We just happened to become adults in a really unfortunate time period. So a lot of things just seem to be out of the reach lately. But some of the places I wanted to go that I didn't get a chance to at that time period was I really wanted to go to Ireland. Ireland has been on my list for a very long time. I'm actually surprised that I wasn't able to go. It just wasn't in the cards, and that's okay. And then eventually I would love to go to Scotland because that's also on my list. I'd also love to see if I can get Amsterdam on there as well. Greece has been on my list. When I did my study abroad program in 2016, when I was still in high school, 2015, I actually met a lot of people from Greece, and so it was so funny because like we ended up like getting to know more about each other. And I just remember like Greece just always looks so pretty, and then like actually getting to know more about Greece from people who are from there. That was a really big experience for me. When you're a teenager and you're so limited, homegirl from the Bay, so Greece has been on my list as well. In regards to like, what's so funny is I'm definitely more of a traveler. I'm not much of a vacationer, if that makes sense. Because you know how people say there's different types of like I guess, yeah, vacationers. I don't know how to explain it, but some people are more like leisure. They want to chill, they want to eat, read a book, sit on the beach. plot twist, I actually have discovered, as much as I've spent time on beaches, I do not enjoy them. And the biggest reason for that is the sand, to be quite honest. It just feels like such a hassle to just, enjoy the beach. Like I like the idea of going to the beach, but then every time I've went, it's just like sand everywhere and just very unfortunate events. But as a temporary San Diegan, I definitely did enjoy it. But funnily enough, I enjoyed it when I didn't have to, you know, bring the whole beach gear. When I could just like go down to the beach and just like, 70-degree weather. Even it didn't need to be hot. It could be cloudy and just kind of walk and just experience the water. And not plan to sit down. I think that's the biggest thing because just sand gets everywhere and it's just not fun. Even there's been times where I've tried to bring a book and everything and it really wasn't worth it. But even I haven't figured out what like those beach places look like yet. Because as much as I hear of like the typical ones, of course, I just feel like I haven't done enough research, because those aren't on my main priority list. But I do know I want to do that, and that would probably be via cruise. Question mark, question mark. I've never done a cruise, fun fact. And I'm still deciding if that's something I would want to do. It seems to be pretty affordable, and it seems to be also a pretty affordable way to get somewhere I haven't been before. I'm like 2025, I haven't used my passport since 2019. I'm like itching to get somewhere new. So because of that, I'm actually pretty open to, just experiencing new places. Especially in the US, it gets a bit boring. And I live in New York. I love New York. But because I live in New York, it makes it a bit hard to just go other places, because it is an expensive city. I wouldn't trade it. I live here for a reason. I love New York, for its accessibility to so many things. But it does make it hard to to go different places. But that's okay. It's not New York's fault. It's, the unfortunate economy that we're in. Jobs could pay more, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Considering that I could be in a better space for how long I've been working. Not forever, of course, but people should be able to stack up even in 5 years. Side note, going into another place. So fun fact, it wasn't on my list until like last year, but I started like researching places I could go, even if I couldn't, cross the pond. That still felt like, me being somewhere different and me going to a new country and doing, walking somewhere and it feeling like I'm, in a whole new space, that I'm in Europe, but I'm not really in Europe. And so Montreal, Canada has become an option. It's not far, from New York. There's bus options, there's train options, there's plane options, of course. But I do like the idea that I do have options because, as you know, if you're in the US, you know that it's not the most ideal when it comes to, wanting to travel somewhere and not having to take a plane. Everything takes so much longer. I don't mind, traveling long distances, but I want it to be worth it. What I've discovered are train rides cost about the same as a plane sometimes, which actually doesn't make sense to me at all. But I've discovered Montreal, you can take a decent length. It's not too bad because I wouldn't mind just like looking around and stuff. You can take a bus ride and it's not too long. So that's something that's, potentially on my list. I don't know if that would happen this year because, of course, if I can make Ireland happen or if I can make going to London again happen specifically, then I would love to do that. What do I see for that? So if I was able to make London happen, I would want to tie in Ireland into that as well. Those are my two priorities since they're, relatively near each other. While in England, I would probably try to visit Brighton again. So I would probably stay in London, but then take like a day trip to Brighton because I do miss Brighton. So freaking underrated. It's such a pretty city. It like, temporary San Diegan for a second. It's just so lovely. And I know the beaches are rocky and stuff like that. But once again, I'm not a beach girly, in the sense anyways, even if it doesn't have sand. And, I don't know. I just loved it. Going to the pier, little shopping. It's such a walkable city. I'm all about a walkable city. And I definitely see myself at least taking a day trip. Probably wouldn't stay there because I know my priority would be London. So I'd probably stay in London and then, take a day trip to Brighton and then try to go to Ireland. In an ideal world, I'm traveling for 2 weeks. But once again, the coins, and as we see, I'm out here building Legos. So we gotta figure out what our priorities are. So if that doesn't happen, then Montreal is the next best bet. And if Montreal doesn't happen, I've been trying to see where I can do my, what do they call them? Like, it's not a stay, it's not a staycation necessarily. I'll just call it a nearcation. So it's like cities that you can explore that are still close to you, that aren't gonna require you to have to take out a freaking payment for housing in a hotel and this big purchase on travel, etc., etc. I've been looking at Cold Springs, New York. It seems really cool, like a little cutesy small town. Seen a few TikToks about it, and I like that idea much. I said maybe if I can get myself to another state, that would be quite nice. But once again, I would need to prioritize, like, how can I do a day trip in a nearby state? And I don't know if I would necessarily want to do that 100%. It depends on what state, what city, because I feel like I'd at least want a weekend, So then that's another thing. And then where else? Chicago's been on my list. New Orleans has been on my list. I don't really care much for Washington, D.C., but people tend to go a lot because it's near New York. But just for me personally, yeah, I can do without it. I've thought about it before, but it's now not needed on my list. And then I would love to go back to San Diego. I haven't been to San Diego since 2020, and I missed that place. So there's just a lot. I'm a girl who wants to travel, but I can't really travel that much. There's also some places I would love, like just general like event places. I don't know, theme parks that I would love to go to. So I haven't been to Disneyland / California Adventure since 2019. When I tell you 2019 was the year, yeah, 2019 was the year. College time, I was balling, and I still had coins after. Shout out to the refunds, and me being a resident assistant. But yeah, I haven't been since then. And then luckily enough, I was able to go to Disney World with my friends in 2020. They have their little summer discount, and that came in clutch. But I'm trying to figure out how to make that happen because, it could be a bit expensive when you're trying to do that by yourself. And, everybody else, or they're doing their own thing. For me, I do want to do Disney sometime this year. In a perfect world, I'm going to Disney quite often because that is a happy place of mine. But as of right now, I'm just watching the walkthroughs when I can, of Disneyland and Disney World, and all the different parks within it. And at some point we'll get there. But yeah, as you see, I want to talk about the set as we're kind of wrapping up here. I really like the fencing choices on this. While it was a pain in the butt, I also really like the like cobblestone work in regards to it. I did notice the original idea set, I believe the flooring was a bit different and it didn't have the fencing. And then what's also really cool is the build more sign, which I'm putting a sticker on right now. That is I love when Lego does little touches like that, where it's like, hey, this is still, in this perfect example, like this is still London, but we're also putting a Lego tie-in. So Biltmore Road, those roads in London are very iconic. I also love the tie-in with the the leaves and the different plants and stuff. I like the color coordination in regards to it. I think that was something that was also missing in the Lego idea set. So it's also intriguing because when it comes to Lego idea sets, they either hit or they miss. In this case scenario, I think they hit when it came to remixing it. You'll see that in the next episode, I'm going to be doing the Twilight House, and a lot of people disagreed with what they decided to do with it. But I actually think that what they did was also a hit. But I know Twilight's supposed to be like very doom and gloom and dark and stuff, but I feel like they did what they needed to do. The only thing that they could have made better, in my opinion, was just adding the rest of the Cullen family. But I know That tends to be an issue with Lego in general. I kind of already accepted that when it comes to big sets, you're probably not going to get every minifig that you want. But I just hope at some point they decide to do a side quest or something. Because even when I have the mini Disney castle, and I was like, why is Mickey and Minnie not here? And so what I did to kind of fix that was to just get Minnie a mini keychain and add her to the mix. But they definitely should have had Mickey and Minnie. Um, but when you start seeing this little light pole here, I did note in my TikTok about this, but I just want to let you know it is a little wobbly, which I was a little shook by. But I finished it. The lights are up, and yeah, let me know what you think.